You're listening to the Free to Be Mindful podcast, which provides bite-sized tips for busy parents, educators, and anyone working with kids. These real talk conversations focus on mindful living, mental health, and personal growth, helping all to learn, grow, and inspire with mindfulness in mind. I'm your host, Vanessa de Jesus Guzman, educator, licensed professional counselor, entrepreneur, and mom. I'm passionate about helping folks live life with peace of mind and ease of heart while not losing their, well, you know, here we go. Hello, and welcome back to the Free to Be Mindful podcast. I hope that you're feeling good, looking good, and doing better in this world than you were yesterday. So if you're enjoying the Free to Be Mindful podcast, or if you like what you're going to hear today specifically, I welcome you to rate and review the podcast and or screenshot the episode and post it on social media. And don't forget to tag me on social media. I always repost. I hang out most on Instagram, which is at Counselor V de Jesus. So this week, we just finished changing the clock, or springing forward, at least in the United States. I have to always say to myself, fall back and spring forward to remember which is it that we have to do. It really is a matter of how we look at things and how we can reframe them. So we could think of it as, well, that was an hour that I didn't have to work or cook or clean. But typically, most of us, especially parents, we think of it as, we lost an hour of sleep. And really, when we think of an hour, when we think of time, really, time is our most precious and non-renewable resource that we all have. I got that specifically from Marie Forleo. And I read a quote once that said, time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. And once you've lost it, you never get it back. And it seems that as humans, right, as people, we always do want more time because we always want to do all the things, more things. But it really is the one thing that money can't buy. Despite how many facelifts you do, your face will still age. That's one perspective to look at things through. And we really have to become intentional with how we invest this precious resource of time. As we age or as we get wiser, it starts to feel that time is going faster. I see that most of all when I look at my own son. When I think of my life in the past 8 years, it seems like forever and that I've done so much in 8 years. But when I look at how much my son has grown and how much he has changed, even physically changing, his face changing in the past 8 years, it really is an unbelievable thing to see. Time also has a way of showing us what really matters. So when we spring ahead, as we just did in the US, we can think of, what do I have to get done, right? What do I have to prioritize with the time that I have? But the older that we get, the more we see how finite time really is. When we have run out of time, especially when we've run out of time with someone we've loved when they have passed, we always wish that we had more time. We always wish that we would have done more with the time that we had. And it seems that it's during these moments that we really focus on the things that really matter. But then we go back to our everyday, our regular everyday. And that's when really we can kind of let time slip away, when we really don't put too much emphasis on what we're doing because we get stuck in our day-to-day rut or in our day-to-day norm. But when we really think about how precious time is, sometimes people think about how many Christmases they have left, or if they're around the 40-year-old mark, the 40-year-old age, then they start to think, maybe I only have 40 years left to celebrate, or 40 Christmases left to celebrate, or whatever have you. And it can really start to put things in perspective. However, future thinking can stress us out. Past thinking can sometimes make us upset over the choices we made, or perhaps those that we didn't make. But then thinking about the future can stress us out when we think about how much time it is that we have left, or all of the things that we have yet to do. So, truly, when we think about the concept of time, it's only thinking about this very moment that we have right now, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And as much as we can prepare for the future, we don't know which direction the winds will blow or what exactly is going to happen. And when we think about time in the past concept, we can't change what has happened, at least not yet, because of the invention of time travel, although I guess we just never know. So when we think about time, we really want to step back and ask ourselves, what is the most important thing to me right now? Right now, because that is the very moment that we have. We don't have the past anymore, and we don't have the future quite yet, but we have this very moment, the moment in which we are taking this very breath. So we can ask ourselves again, what is most important right now to me? And am I lining up what is the most important to me with my time? So, meaning, depending on what's important to me, am I learning a new skill? Am I building a business? Am I going back to school? Do I want to spend more time working or traveling or sleeping? We must ask ourselves, what is most important for me right now? And then with that, we must take that risk, because when we're old and gray, what we want to be proud of is the chances that we took, not the things that we wanted to do or the things that we wish we did but didn't get to or chose not to, especially out of fear. Sometimes it's fear that holds us back in doing the most we can with the time that we have. And it can be fear of so many things. I'll share with you, I am not a runner. I'm a very slow jogger. Walker slash jogger is more like it. I'm like a turtle running through peanut butter, super duper slow. However, that doesn't stop me from doing my old man jog, as I call it. And even though I might practice it by myself, I always wanted to do a 5K. And even despite how old I am, I've never signed up for one, purely based out of fear. I don't know of what. Maybe that I'm going to be the last one, or that I'm not going to finish. I'm really not sure. But that's something that in my age, I wish I have invested the time in, and I haven't. So I'm sharing that with you today because that's something that I'm going to do this year. I don't know when. I am going to commit to it though. I'm going to choose to invest my time, not just in preparing for it, but actually signing up for it and then carrying through with it and doing it. And I ask you, what will you do with your time? We are in March, if you're listening to this in real time, and we are almost done with the first quarter of the year. We don't want to get to December and think, oh, I wish I should have, would have, could have, right? We can take the advantage of, we can take control of the time, the moments that we have right now and accomplish what it is that we want to do. But we have to create, we have to make this time to do it in. So many of us say, I just don't have the time for that. But really, is it the way that we're looking at things? Maybe perhaps we can say, I want to do that. I just haven't made the time for it yet, as opposed to saying, I don't have the time for it. So I ask you, what is it that you want to do that you haven't made the time for yet? Because that's something important to keep in mind too. Sometimes we focus so much on the preparation, right? On getting all the things, on obtaining all the knowledge, on getting all the quotes, on getting everything lined up, on making sure that we're prepped to do well, that we actually delay the doing part of it all. And sometimes it's that prep part that can be rooted in fear as well. Perhaps it's, again, fear of the unknown, fear of not knowing how it will work out. So that we delay. And what we have to keep in mind is that time passes by regardless. So despite what it is that you want to do, know that whether you start it right now or whether you do it right now, or if you don't, a year from now, time will pass. What space, what time, what moments will you be in then? Will you be proud of yourself for at least giving things a try? Or will you still be in that preparation phase and not have done it yet? Or will you still be in the thinking phase of it all? And again, not have done it yet. The choice is really up to you. So today I ask you to think of what it is that you want to accomplish, what it is that you want to do. It doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe you just want to get up 30 minutes earlier in the morning. Maybe you want to go on that trip. Maybe you want to apply to that grad school. Maybe you want to let go of that job that doesn't do you any good. Maybe you want to try to conquer a new activity with your kids. Whatever it is that you want to do, create the time and space to learn the things, and then create the time and space to get it done. Your future self will thank you. So right now, regardless of where you are or what you're doing, I invite you to take a deep inhale in and then a full exhale out. And take the gift of time, this very moment that you have right here and right now. Think about where your body is rooted. Think about the space in which you're in. Think about the time that you have right now. And just take this very moment to think what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to conquer. Take just a few moments now to really state that aloud in your mind. Think about how you're going to get there. And even if you don't have all of the steps with you, know that you can do it. But you must take that first step. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And the sooner that you take the step, the closer you will be to obtaining that goal. As you take a breath in, think of whatever that goal is and think, I can. And as you exhale, think, I will. Have a great week. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. It would mean a ton if you took this moment to review the Free to Be Mindful podcast on the platform you catch your favorite shows. That quick and easy act lets me know what you enjoy, and it helps others find the podcast too. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you can listen along next week. In the meantime, I welcome you to catch me on social media at Counselor V de Jesus. And as always, remember, in a world where you are free to be anything that you want to be, you are always free to be mindful. Catch you next week.